Here we go!
Get that last no-scope kill and hit pause. It's time for Neutral Gamers, the video game podcast where the Konami code is alive and well, the console wars don't exist, rings are just as valuable as coins, pots are not safe from swords, giant robots kick ass, and fireballs are a perfectly acceptable weapon in a fist fight. Hey everyone, we are back after some weird to get busy weeks. So I am back here with our fellow gamer, Cynic, who goes by Henzar because I get confused.
And hello to you, Mr. Slayton, who is Gavin. And, yeah, not that hard, buddy.
See, that's the problem is I get to know people the first time, and if I get to know you by a code name, that's what I know you as. Like, I've got a friend that I've known since I was right out of high school that I met him playing laser tag, and his code name was Avatar. And so my whole life he's been Avatar, not David. So you get to be a Cynic.
Yep, I got my friend Keys back in Florida, and Keys is always just Keyz, and I've known him for like 10 years. It's just, what's up, Keys?
I mean,
So
that's the greatest thing.
It's gamer culture now. We know each other by the nicknames we give ourselves, and we just fuck the names our parents give us. You know, we made up our own, and they're much worse, but I guess funnier. It's bad. It's a weird culture.
It is weird, but I absolutely love it. I'm not even gonna lie. It's great.
So do I. I absolutely do.
So we were supposed to be doing the show live Wednesdays, but I got sidetracked. We had birthdays. There was lots of reasons why. And we've been trying to do this E3 show forever. That's why this episode's called The Last Horse Across the E3 Finish Line.
And that is definitely us. I think we haven't games been canceled that were announced at E3 by the time we fucking got here. What's the deal?
Yeah, I have no doubt that they were. Like, I am completely baffled that it took us this long because we've already done television shows about this stuff and other things, and here we are on our actual video game podcast, like a whole season later.
Right, games have been pretty much released and patched, and yeah, it's been weird, but I totally have been. It was a good enough E3, and I think there's a couple of bullet points there that made me excited enough that I could take one of those games and just do an hour show. So I'm still fired up about it.
So my question for you then is, as we're going through it, we're going to start at the beginning. But overall, who do you think won E3 as a company?
As a company? Well, I don't know who won as a company more, but I do know who got me hyped up more. And Sony definitely did the trick for me because all they had...
You have got to be smoking crack.
Oh, yeah. And all they had to do, and this is why, because all they had to do was show me God of War. And I'm gonna miss the old voice actor, but God of War, it's just got me all hot and bothered. So God of War and Spider-Man was a total standout. The fact that Spider-Man Arkham Asylum is just gonna be great, man. It looks like it's had attention, care, and I hate that it's not gonna be cross-platform, but it's not gonna bother me. I do feel sorry for people who are strictly Xbox or strictly Nintendo because that looks awesome. If you're a Spider-Man fan, that's got to be the game you have to get.
I totally throwing digs my way with that little statement there. I feel sorry for whoever's just strictly Xbox or Nintendo because that's what I am.
Well, I mean, you don't have a PS4? I'm surprised.
No, the last PlayStation I had was the PlayStation 2, and because I got hooked on Xbox because it's got the structure. We've talked about this here before. It's got the system that I play because I'm a social gamer. So that makes me excited to be able to do that. But I think you're wrong because when you look at all the press conferences that were at E3, PlayStation was the most boring because not even the audience was engaged. There were a handful of people who were excited to be there, but everyone else was just kind of sitting there. I think overall Nintendo brought the shit down. Like they won it hands down.
Oh, with their Mario Rabbids, is that what the standout was for Nintendo? Is that what got you all hyped up?
No, I guess you don't watch fan service. They announced a full-on Pokemon RPG is coming to the Switch. They couldn't really show anything, but it will be ready to show next year. So we're getting
I
a real Pokemon game and real fun games back on a Nintendo system. Who would have fucking thought?
I did hear about that actually, and it's a wonder that Nintendo just hasn't bothered attending. Didn't they just not attend a couple of E3s? And it's just not something they really care about too much. But now that they're announcing the Switch and they've got some games to bring, I think it's a good sign that Nintendo is having a console resurgence. They've always been good handheld, but having a resurgence with the Switch is a good thing. And I'm definitely well, I would say happy for them. Fuck them. I hope it's good. I hope they bring me good stuff. If they do, I'll buy it.
Well, see, I have my Switch, so I'm already a step ahead of you. So not only did they bring it, but they're actually getting real games, and they're all about the cross-platform play all of a sudden, because you can now play not only Minecraft, but that Thunder Derby car with soccer game, you can cross-platform play. They're all about opening up the gaming world for everybody.
Yeah, Rocket League, and
that's the one.
That's a huge step. A really big step for them because traditionally Nintendo is so closed off from the rest of the world. They're very much in their own bubble, and so reaching out to other platforms to be able to play games like Minecraft, which have a very big young. I mean, you can create some good stuff, but the Minecraft is for the younger audience. Let's be, at least from as far as I can tell. Maybe I'm in my own bubble.
You're in your own bubble on that one. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm on. Okay, fine. Well, I'm in my own bubble for Minecraft. Fine.
But it's funny you say that because that's PlayStation's mentality. Because now everyone's looking at Sony saying, if Nintendo of all fucking companies is going to say, yes, let's break down these walls and cross-platform play, what the fuck is your problem? And you know what they did? They pulled the kid card. Oh, well, kids play Minecraft, and we have to be very protective of them. You get the same trash talking on the PlayStation Network that you get that you'll get on Nintendos, that you'll get on Xboxes. They ain't going to hear nothing there that they haven't already heard.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I haven't. I didn't know if I didn't play Minecraft because I'm just not their demographic or what. But
you know what though?
I guess
you actually are their demographic. You just have to do like I do and just sit down and play it, and then you'll get hooked. Trust me.
I sat down and played it for a couple of hours. I really did try, and I don't get me wrong, I had fun with it. I did have fun with it. I think the bottom line I'm trying to say is, though it's not a game I play, good for Nintendo, because the more open you are to things like that, it's a positive thing, and it's going to attract more attention and get you more money than some assholes sitting back and saying, "Hey, this is only me." I'm lucky to have bought a PS4 I got a pretty good deal on it, but I'm lucky to have got it at the price that I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing Spider-Man, and I'd be salty as hell that I'm not able to play this standalone game. So I say props to Nintendo. We can make all the rabbit jokes we want, but well, they are bringing their A game. Plus, they're bringing stuff like Skyrim and things like that, which I think are just kind of, I wouldn't say necessary, but when you have something like Zelda, but when you have that other crowd that are big fans of things like Skyrim and modding, which I actually, do you have any idea if they're going to allow any of that stuff like modding and things like that?
I don't know. I know in Minecraft they're opening up stores that have mods and things in it because they're going to unify all the different versions into one version, except for the Java version. I think stays separate. But it's no longer the Xbox One version or the Nintendo version or the mobile version. They're all one version, so you can play with anybody on anything on the same servers, and they're opening up the marketplace, so I think there's mods in there. I'm not really sure how it's going to play out, but I know that there's a plan for that.
Okay. Well, that's very cool. Very, very cool.
And it's funny when you bring up Skyrim for the Switch because, okay, I applaud the effort, but we already have it remastered and redone on 500 other ways.
It's
You
been done to
know,
death.
it is, but they actually announced, great Nintendo games, and there's, going to be a resurgence just because of that, and people are excited and they're treating their system with respect, unlike a gimmick like they did with the Wii and the Wii U. So I always, like I said on fan service, I've said for 5 years now, the second Nintendo announces a real next gen Pokemon game, it's done. It is done. There is nobody who can argue with me that the console wars will even exist after that, because everybody, whether you want to admit it or not, has played and or love Pokemon.
And you know me, I'm a huge fan. That's where I get Hinzar from. I'm a huge, huge fan. And if they have a full-on, Final Fantasy AAA Pokemon game for a console, it might make me buy it. It very well might.
Well, I have mine, so I'm already set. Like, I knew it was coming, but I really wanted Zelda, so that's why I bought my system. And now I have Mario Kart and some other things.
Well, a coworker of mine actually made me jealous as hell because he just bought a Switch and he's been sitting in across my desk, just right there. He'll be helping people out and playing his Switch right then and there. And I'll look at it and go, "Is that Breath of the Wild? Jesus, that looks good." All right, okay, wow, that's seriously just a handheld console, and you're just playing it at work, and nobody fucking cares. So
it is quite amazing that way.
It's really, until you actually see that thing in action and actually get it in your hands. I don't think most people would really, people who are anti-Nintendo, or at least on the fence, or they don't really know what the Switch is, the power that it has to process. When you put that thing in your hand and you go, wow, this is a next gen console in my hand right now. It is impressive. It is really impressive. And it has the feel of that hand. I said before, Nintendo handheld, they do really well with their handhelds, and to have a handheld full blown console, they don't have to put so much energy into that. I think they shoot themselves in the foot when they prioritize all their energy and they place it in one in handheld and one in console, and they're both so different and they both have so much more to offer on one than the other. And now focus on one is huge for them. So I think
excited.
Yeah, it's a good time to be a Nintendo fan, and it will bring people like me back into the fold who haven't had a Nintendo since Nintendo 64. It absolutely will.
I haven't had one since the GameCube, and this brought me back in the fold, so I'm guilty as charged.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so we're going to streamline this E3 session because I want you to pick your 3 best games and your 1 worst game. And I want you to talk about those, then I'll do my 3 and my 1 worst, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So what was your best game of the show?
My best game of the show, I'm going to go ahead and say Spider-Man. And I know it's not the most technically sound game, and it's not the biggest announcement there. But I've been a Spider-Man fan for a long time, and around a couple of years ago, they kind of took a direction in comic books and movies and gaming that it made it feel like a cash grab, and it made it feel like it's appealing to all the people. They want to read Spider-Man or watch or play. And so now we've got a big push for the character. We've got Homecoming, which is supposedly going to be awesome. We have the new comic books, which have gone forward, and they've also brought back Eddie Brock, and this new Spider-Man game, which I've basically called Spider-Man Arkham Asylum. The graphics look fucking amazing. They've got the Batman Arkham Asylum basic strike, plus the dodge mechanic and the takedown mechanics. Then you have the stealth aspects, which are completely ripped from Batman, but also are very easily translated into the Spider-Man world. Some of my favorite Spider-Man games would be like Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man Web of Shadows, and the only thing that kept Web of Shadows from being incredible was it was glitchy as fuck. So that game came out years ago, like 2008 or 7 or something. I'd have to look that up, but to have the first Spider-Man game that I actually want to play, that I want to get my hands on in 10 years, I really can't wait to really dig into that character and put myself in his shoes and swing around the city and beat the fuck out of people. And it's just it looks like a blast. It really looks like an absolute blast, and a very true experience to the character. And the fact that they aren't basing it on a movie, they're not basing it on Homecoming. They seem to be, they took the Web of Shadows route, where they took some staple characters, wrote their own original story, and it looks like they're going to give you a good, it's very similar to Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum came out and it wasn't tied to anything, and they had the freedom to create something cohesive, and that made sense. So as long as they follow through with that, I'm going to be happy for that game. I can't be more excited for Spider-Man. And if it's just going to crush me, this is going to be the make or break for me being a Spider-Man fan for the rest of my fucking life. I think Homecoming and this game are going to be it for me, man. If they can't get this right, the character's dead, and it just can't come back for me. So they have to get it right. And I have not been this emotional about that character in a long time. So, man, I'm fired up for it.
I'm really excited at the idea of it, and I may have been played eventually. But the last Spider-Man game that I really enjoyed was Shattered Dimensions. That game was fantastic.
The game was okay. Yeah, that was okay. And then the one after that, though, was horrid. What was it? Time something? I can't remember.
It's when they do the dumb stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It was not. It was not good.
So I'd have to say that my game of the show was Monster Hunter Worlds. When I saw that premiere during the PlayStation conference, I was ready to go buy a PlayStation 4 right then and there. But I was like, oh, because I played the original one. I had the network adapter. I had all that stuff for the PlayStation 2. But it's a cross-platform game, so I'm going to get to play it on the Xbox with all the people that I know on a better social network. But that was the one game that sold me on the possibility of a PlayStation 4 right there alone, because I'm a Monster Hunter junkie. I have not been happy with it being on the Game Boy systems. They announced Monster Hunter Duels Double X for the Switch, and I was like, oh, good Monster Hunter game. Then they announced Worlds, which is everything the first game should have been, but wasn't. I'm like, yes! But it's cross-platform, so I'll be playing on my Xbox.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I've actually I played Monster Hunter years ago at a friend's, and God, what was it? That's no, I'm thinking I'm which was the one where you put like a CD into the PlayStation and you would get or fight a monster. Which game was that? Because I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I think.
You're not thinking of Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter.
I'm not thinking.
I don't remember the game you're talking about. Pocky would know if you were here, but
yeah.
The funny thing was,
well, then,
yeah.
Well, then all I've ever done is hear about Monster Hunter, and nothing has ever intrigued me enough to go get one. But this is the only one I've seen a big push for, and for it being cross-platform, it's finally on my radar, which it never has been. It has never been on my radar.
Which is funny because once it started, the trailer started, I said, I know this style. Look at that weapon. This is a Monster Hunter game. Oh my God, it's a Monster Hunter game. Then they came across the giant monsters, and I was like, this is a Monster Hunter game. And then they said it was Monster Hunter Worlds. I was like, yes. And then they did the cooking scene at the end. I was like, I used to sing that music. I totally went backwards because you see, I loved PlayStation 1 and 2. I lived on those consoles. I lived and breathed PlayStation till Xbox came along and gave me everything that the PlayStation wasn't. So I never looked back. And so when I saw No Man's Sky, I thought about getting a PlayStation for that. But then it bombed, so I'm glad I didn't do it. And I saw Monster Hunter Worlds, and I was like, oh, yes, finally an actual real reason. But it's going to be on the system that I love. And I'm going to be getting an Xbox One X. So, yeah, it's going to be looking really good.
Do you have any honorable mentions? Anything that would almost put you up on number one, or at the very least you're going to be paying attention to?
Okay, so since we have to pick two more top games, my next game is The Last Night. It was shown at the Microsoft conference, and it's that weird Blade Runner looking 2-dimensional but 3-dimensional pixelated game.
The Last Night. You know what? Give me a second. Give me a second.
Yeah,
'Cause
look that one up
I missed
because
this
it's I think it's a side scroller, but it's got a 3-dimensional effect to it. But everything is 2-dimensional pixelated, and it's very sci-fi. It made me think of Blade Runner, but this game looks effing beautiful.
The Last Night. Was that N or K there? Night or Knight?
Night, Night.
Night. The Last Night. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. You know what? I did see this. I did see the trailer for that one. Yeah, it does look interesting. It's like the 2.5D.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does look interesting.
And I think the reason why is I'm excited that I'm not the indie world junkie, because every time we go to these conferences and we see all these indie developers, all their games look the same. They all play the same. They're all low key. They're all made to be basically mobile games on a console. So one of the reasons why I got back into gaming so hardcore after my Sega days was Final Fantasy VII. And the PlayStation had all these great original games, and so did this PlayStation 2. And lately, we have nothing but Call of Duty knockoffs and franchises that won't go away. And so here we've got a brand new property that's got just looks beautiful, looks different, looks like it's going to be fun, just like We Happy Few. You know, we're getting to those indie games, I guess, or smaller budget games that are actually games that don't feel cheap, that are really engaging looking. So I have a really high hopes for this game.
Yeah. Well, it definitely looks good. I'm looking at the trailer right now, and it definitely seems interesting.
Right? I mean, it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It definitely has that Blade Runner neon not apocalyptic, but that neon destitute future. Okay, well, I can see why you're into that one.
And so the other thing is, you know, I got to watch the Microsoft conference in 4K and full stereo. They showed everything on the Xbox One X in 4K. This game on a 4K system, holy crap. Like, I've never really been big about the whole 4K thing, but after watching everything on the One X, I was like, I got to have one. So I'm waiting for them to come and pre-order. I'm signing up for emails on like every effing site. The first email I get, I'm going to go pre-order this thing, because it actually made a huge difference looking at this game. And such a high resolution was just so colorful, so detailed. I mean, it just blew me away.
Yeah, it's reminding me a little bit of when they have stuff like you don't get an Assassin's Creed feel when you have stuff like that, because I'm and it's a little creepy. I'm thinking whenever I look at stuff like this, like there's just a bunch of people, a bunch of ants who are going up to. They're going somewhere, like they're going away from some sort of catastrophe, or they're just going about their business, because you're the only one going against the crowd. So it seems like they're really going for a certain feel of some type, like it's going to be a bit of an emotional experience. And I like that they're injecting a lot of color. I think when you say Call of Duty knockoffs and you talk about things like I'm a big fan of things like Fallout, and whenever I think of the color scheme of Fallout, however, it's just, you know, you put a gray filter over a brownish gray filter over everything, make everything dirty. Same with Call of Duty. It's just the same color schemes. And I'm starting to see color come back to games in a very big way. And this really does look good. Yeah, I'm liking this pixelated, colorful weirdness. This Japanese acid trip of a Blade Runner interpretation.
So that was my number 2. What is your number 2 game?
Let
me guess, something from the PlayStation conference.
No, actually, this is Dead State 2. State of Decay. My bad.
I was about to say, are you talking? Because I love the first State of Decay. I love this game.
absolutely loved that game. There was such a sense of urgency to get away from things, and you can get really complacent, walking around with characters and just running everything over, and you feel OP and you feel good, and all of a sudden one of these crazy zombies just ambushes you and kills your best guy. I remember that happening to me for the first time, and it was jolting and it was emotional because you're like, oh my God, I just put so much time into this, and it saves it immediately. There's no getting around it. And going around and searching houses and completing missions and picking people up who you've sent on missions who get in trouble it felt ripe for multiplayer gameplay. And I honestly thought they were going to add some multiplayer aspect to that game, and the fact that they didn't, I thought was a huge missed opportunity. Just massive. I wondered what the fuck these people were thinking when they created this beautiful multiplayer experience and just didn't add the most important part they could have added to the game.
It's a resource management game. You can't do that as a multiplayer game. Like, you're supposed to be like, I stopped playing when my second favorite character died because I was dumb. I just stopped playing. I was like, I can't do this.
Do it.
I invested so much time, and that's what it is. The first game was a resource management one, and the second one will be more, I think, along the lines of a better Left 4 Dead. I mean, Left 4 Dead was fun, but it was very straightforward. I think this will be more of an open world. Let's go have fun and survive together. But then how do you manage your survivors? Like, do I have different minion survivors than you would have? Can we utilize them? Like, it just depends on how they decide to play it out in the second game.
Yeah. Well, I think. I honestly don't know what I think about it. I think as far as the resource management go, like that was half the point, and I really do hope they keep that aspect. They haven't gone so deep into it that we know every little thing about the game yet. So I'm hoping maybe people can pool their resources, or maybe they have their own bases set up separate from the others, but they can share things. Or maybe there's a certain type of thing they can collect, and they can only collect with each other. There's just too much speculation. All I heard was Dead State. Hey, look how this game looks. Or I keep saying Dead State. State of Decay. Look how good it looks. It looks better. Oh, also you can have multiplayer, and take my money. I'm on board. So I hope that they keep the feel of the last game alive, at least with the RPG aspects. Maybe not even, you don't even have to have the resource management. If you have the RPG aspects and you keep that sense of urgency of keeping people alive, or else dying matters. I think that alone is worth the price for that game.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how they decide to do that, because you're right. There's too many variables on a resource management game. It's kind of like, would it be one of those games where you pop into someone's game and you live in their world till you pop out? Like, that's kind of not right, I think. And so then what happens? Like, are they going to make it an open world where everyone's a player? Like, I guess in World of Warcraft or something. Like, there's so many options you can go to, but we don't want it to stray too far away from the original.
Well, one of the other things I nerded out about, I mean, I'm part of Zombie Life TV, so when I played a zombie game for the first time where you were required to destroy the head, and all of your attacks kind of go in that direction anyway, and there's a little combo system and a little bit of a fighter mechanic, I mean, I am so on board with this game, it's not even funny. So I can only hope they come out and really don't disappoint me. It's not going to be hard to do so. Just please keep the RPG aspects intact and make sure they have to die with their heads being exploded, and I'm good.
All right, so let's move on to our third game of the show. I'll let you kick this one off, and I'll go second.
I'll kick the third game off. Okay, so third game. It's a bit of a tie, I think, and it's between God of War, which I don't know if when you take away the chain weapons and you take away the old voice actor, you're changing it just a little bit too much, but the feel of it looks good. So for something new, I'm going to put Anthem up there. A exosuit, free roaming jetpack safari. It's just it. The
We're
little
gonna be playing
bits.
that game together.
Oh, I'm gonna be playing the shit out of that game. If it ends up being, I'm thinking that maybe the people who were working on Mass Effect, were they put all their resources into this, maybe, and maybe that's why Andromeda was not quite up to people's expectations. Uh, Man, this looks huge. It looks completely next gen. It doesn't look like it could have run on anything that was previous gen, and it looks absolutely beautiful with these jungle settings. And I'm a big fan of jungle settings. So give me Far Cry, give me Far Cry Primal, Far Cry 3, Turok. Put me in a jungle, Metal Gear Solid 3, and I'm a happy guy. You make it look pretty, make it make sense, and I'll be happy. So having to jetpack in a cool looking customizable exosuit through the jungle is just going to be too good. I
100% cannot wait for this game because you know what a Destiny junkie I am.
You're a Destiny, and I. And you know me with Destiny. I think I like Destiny. There's a few things that I think they could fix in Destiny. If Anthem learns from I think Destiny's mistakes, because Destiny has been there, it's done that, and I really hope if BioWare looks at their competition and goes, where did they fuck up? Oh yeah. You made the single player campaign nothing. It's there's absolutely no explanation and for anything that's going on. Nobody's recognizable. There's when I hear let's go kill the Fallen, I'm like, okay, well which one is that? Oh, that's these dark creatures that have been taken away by the darkness. Like you know me, I don't.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm gonna stop because I don't want to bash your favorite your favorite game ever.
It's okay. I have friends who call it douche-tiny, so
douche-tiny.
So since you took Anthem as your third game, I'll have to pick a different one because that was my third one. I'm gonna say Crackdown 3. Holy fucking hell!
Well, was Terry Crews just that good, or does it actually? Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the Crackdown franchise, period. But now you're going to give me nearly completely destructible worlds. So if you're in a building and I want you out of it, I can bring the building down around you. It's like Saints Row the Fourth on crack. And I love games like that where you're basically superhero agents and you can, do your skills. But the promise of a nearly completely destructible world is too much to pass up. Because I will raze this city to the ground to kill you. I promise you I will.
I really miss stuff like when what was it? Red Faction Armageddon came out.
Yep.
And it just totally stripped Red Faction of everything that made it cool. I even liked Guerrilla because you ran around with a hammer. You could kill anything you wanted with it and destroyed entire buildings with it. And when to see a game akin to that, I mean, you also have stuff like what is it? I can't even think of it. God damn it. I don't like the game enough to even remember what it is.
Now that says something. When you can't remember a game because you hate it so much, you have stricken it from your vocabulary.
I don't hate it at all. It's just so generic that it just passed me by. They came out with a third game recently. The second game is on Xbox for free. You were the Hispanic guy. The Revolution. Fuck. It was okay. Like it was okay. It just wasn't all it was cracked up to be. So when I'm thinking of fully destructible environments, and there's multiplayer in it, isn't there?
Oh, there is.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm I'll be on board for this one because I played the first and second Crackdown mainly to do the Halo betas, and
that's some dedication right there.
Yeah, they're definitely fun games, and to be able to start with an agent who's got basically nothing, to going around throwing cars around, and they really did impress me with this Crackdown, because it did get honestly, Terry Crews got my attention. That motherfucker is hilarious. So when when he started promoting Crackdown 3 and I actually saw some of the gameplay for it, that you can just take buildings down little by little and you're just going to power up and become a superhero. I don't care if it's an agent, I don't care if you're wearing a cape, but if you make me powerful enough to destroy the world around me, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm
Hell
very cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, now we're going to talk about our most disappointing game. So, what was your disappointment of E3?
What was my disappointment of E3? I'm much more hype. Okay. Cuphead.
Well, hey, we finally got a release date for it.
We got a release date for it. I have been looking forward to this game because I really love the art style. I think it's just a beautiful art style, and I hope it's something. It's been hard to develop, and I can tell they put in the work, they've put in the love. But whenever I saw 11 or whatever 11, 16 minutes of gameplay was, whatever it was just them holding down the fire button and jumping and flipping through a stage that lasted way too goddamn long. I ended up actually skipping through some of the footage, and the only thing that had changed was that he found a shotgun power up, and he was doing the same thing. He was holding the button down, double flipping on top of stuff. I couldn't tell if he was collecting or hitting them, and I said, "Wow, this as good as it looks, I can't do that." it's way
an
too
arcade
repetitive.
shooter, and don't you remember games like 1942? All you do is hold down the fire button and move around. It's a classic arcade shooter type.
It is, and I hope they can pace it right, and I hope they can give you different things to do, because if all you're gonna do is run around and shoot for what looks like the length of a Super Mario World game, then I don't know. It's just I looked at it, was bored with it, and I thought it looked so cool before that it was a little disappointing with what I saw. So I've no doubt that there's hopefully some surprises in mind, but I don't know.
Well, I'm
They just
excited about Cuphead, but I think the one that I love, this is a love-hate thing for me, because I was so freaking excited, but at the same time, so freaking disappointed. Beyond Good and Evil 2. I have been waiting for this game since I finished the first game on the GameCube, and to get a prequel game that has nothing to do with the characters I know and love or the situations I know and love, I'm confused. Like, why would you call it that? I mean, has it tied to the original? Like, I'm all over the place with this one. I love it, but I hate it at the same time.
Well, the tech demo that they showed was just beyond gorgeous. I mean, it definitely looked good. I'll be honest. I can't get on board. Wow, excuse me. I can't.
That was your demon gamer coming out. I can't get on board. I can't do it.
Yeah. The demon in me is very apathetic. So I never played the first one. Let me put that out there. Haven't played it. I downloaded it for free on Xbox. Been meaning to play it, so I just didn't get hyped up over it. It looked good aesthetically, and everyone seems to be loving it. So
it's the first game it's simple. It's got an amazing soundtrack. It's just fun. It's a fun game. And when they were teasing they showed the main characters all next gen out. And then they gave us something completely different. And I don't know why. Like, I'm okay with offshoots in those universe, like Rogue One. But don't call it Beyond Good and Evil 2. Call it Beyond Good and Evil. Give it a chapter name so we know it's not a sequel. It's just another, like Final Fantasies do. Well, they keep numbering their stupid shit after its numbers, but
I was gonna say that was bad. That was the worst example I think you could.
I'm sorry, given. Captain Demon Voice. I gave a bad example.
Well, I don't have a good comeback. I'm just gonna say you're bad and move on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna no doubt play it because yes, it looks beautiful and I love that universe, but I'm disappointed that it's not what they were telling us it was for the longest time. Because I would love to continue the adventures of Jade and Paige after the whole resistance thing and see where it happens. So that's my disappointment. It's a love-hate thing.
Okay. So it's just a love-hate deal. Okay.
Yeah, and so with that, it's time for us to head out of our E3 show. Music came on a little loud there. Sorry, Captain Demon. I was trying to drown out that scary voice. Like, I've never heard you do that voice before.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first one was just a burp. It was me, yeah, but you've never heard me burp, so I guess that's fine.
Well, you know you're talking to burp at the same time. So this has been lots of fun. You can find me on Xbox. It's Slayton. And where can they find you online?
You can find me on Xbox and PlayStation Network, Henzar, Henzzar.
And that's been it. So hopefully we'll get back to our weekly schedule because I'm going to hand the keys off to you shortly. But in the meantime, I'll be running things on my end, and then it'll be the Henzar Show.
The Henzar Show, where the demons will come out and we will hate. We will hate so much.
We'll hate that innocent head game. All right, so we'll be back next week, back to our normal format. So we'll see you guys then.
Goodbye.